Hello and welcome to another episode of MetalCast from MetalCoffeeShop.com. My name is Karen Edwards, and I'm really excited about today's episode because I have two of the leaders from the Metal Building Contractors and Erectors Association joining me to talk all about what's going to be happening in 2026 at the spring meeting and the annual conference. And I'd like to welcome Robert Tiffin and David Leinbach. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good morning, Karen. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you both here. I'd like to get started. So David is the incoming president, and Robert, you are the outgoing president. So you're going to be transitioning to that role of past president. But I'd like you to introduce yourselves and tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do. And Robert, maybe you can get us started.
Oh, certainly. So just in fun, David's in the black box because, we cannot reveal the new president until the new year. So that's why we blacked out his image. So just bear with us, folks, on the podcast. So as Karen said, I'm Robert Tiffin. So I am the outgoing president of the MBCEA, coming to the end of my 2-year term. So it's been fabulous. But I'll be taking the role. I've got a couple of special projects, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. But then I'm also the chairperson of the marketing committee for the MBCEA. But all of that is volunteer work, all of that because I love the industry and I love what I do. My full-time job is I'm part of the national account team for Silvercoat, a service partners company based here out of Greenville, South Carolina.
Excellent. Well, thanks for being here, Robert. David, tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, Robert's on the supply side and I'm the contractor. So we buy products from Robert, just like we do a lot of the MBMA members. First of all, I want to thank Robert. I've learned a lot from him over these 2 years, and I'm not going to let him go too far because he's a good mentor, does a lot of wonderful things, and he has a great passion for MBCEA, our industry as a whole. And I also have that passion, so I'm aligned with him a lot in that regards. But we are contractors who specialize in pre-engineered metal buildings and insulated metal panel installation, construction. We act as GCs. Sometimes we act as subs depending on the specific project. I've been in this business, hard to believe, but it's approaching 40 years. I started the company when I got out of college, literally from the ground up. And it's just a wonderful industry, and the ability to give back to the industry and help those who are just starting where I was is a passion. But I learned so much from everybody in the industry, and that's one thing that we'll talk about as we get to conference. Conference is just great place to go to learn from each other and help one another in an industry that at times can be difficult, but it is a wonderful industry.
It sure is. Yeah, very, very well said. And, the fact that you are volunteering to be a part of this association, on the board, leading the association, that's the give back. And just about everybody, I had the privilege to attend the MBCEA Conference and MBMA Spring Meeting last year in Charlotte, North Carolina. And it's just a tight-knit community that was so welcoming to me as a first timer there. So, I'm excited to hear about what's going to be happening at this year's MBCEA conference. What are each of you looking forward to? Well, first of all, let's say when the conference is and where it is.
This year, we're going to Colorado Springs, which is just a great location, wonderful place to be, not only for the conference, but there's just so many things to do around Colorado Springs that I think a lot of people just enjoy going, not only, but bring others with them, spouses and otherwise. But it's April, I have to think the last third week of April. I don't have my calendar up here. Robert, you want to help me here? 16th through...
You're spot on where I am.
That's why you said you go.
And this is exactly. And this is the shout out to Sasha Jemian, our executive director, because if she were here, she'd be like, Robert, you haven't registered yet. I promise by the end of today, I will have registered for the conference. But as David said, it's in April in Colorado Springs, 2026.
Yeah. It's April 22nd through the 24th. I just looked it up. Hotel Polaris in Colorado Springs.
It's a new and facility. I did register, Robert, so one leg up. I guess Sasha wanted to make sure I was there.
Perfect.
But what's most exciting about this year's conference? There's just a lot, but I want to say that it's a management conference this year. We're keying on some project management software. We've invited project management software companies to come and present. So I think that's going to be very good for our contractors who, in the world of software, there's a lot out there. And which one's going to fit their company, work the best. We also have a speaker, and it sort of plays hand in hand because all software has an AI component to it. So we have a speaker that's speaking about AI. So it's really talking about the future and how do we marry this into our business, getting software that with AI, utilizing it properly, and then also looking out for the pitfalls. And there's a lot of pitfalls out there of not making those mistakes. So just the whole idea of software and AI marrying it together, I think is really going to be helpful to our members as they look towards the future.
There's so many contractors that technology is happening so fast right now, and they know that they need to be a part of that and get on that technology train, but it can be confusing. And then you throw AI into the mix, and boy, it's kind of, mind blowing, and you don't know what you don't know. So by bringing those experts to the conference and giving people the opportunity to learn and ask questions, that's really powerful.
And then to your point earlier, Karen, the collaborative. So, AI is going to be a tool for us, right? So you put the tool in the hands of contractors or erectors, and we'll figure out the best way to use it for our industry, period. So that'll be the fun, as opposed to using AI for just creating an image of yourself golfing with Bigfoot. You can actually use it to give a better and more accurate quote. So some of the details, you can reach out and say, hey, I'm quoting in 2028 in, let's say, Reading, Pennsylvania, right? And it can pull demographics, it can pull future plans, whatever's available to the human or to the public, it pulls in. So no more of just the blanket quote for 2 years out. So it's going to help our industry. So that's part of the excitement of next year's conference.
Yeah. So you mentioned this year, being the technology focus. Do you try to do that with each conference, is kind of have a theme or a particular focus?
So the top focus is always, the education side. So as David alluded, this is the management track. We alternate years as a management track, and then we call a team or a crew track. The management track is what best tools or education or panels can we host to help elevate their business as a business practice? Then the crew track is where can we get some hands-on tactile training? So technology, yes, if it's available and there's something on the edge or something questioning, we like to bring that. That's the general theme of what are the challenges faced by our membership. We listen to them from feedback to, for example, my newsletter or soon to be David's newsletter, or from other conferences, we get feedback and we adapt to those to make sure that we're relevant to our membership.
Yeah. Definitely. So, MBCEA is Metal Building Contractors and Erectors Association. You combine your annual conference with the Metal Building Manufacturers Association Spring Meeting. Can you tell me why you do that and what the benefits are?
Sure. It's actually kind of simple. And again, not a genius, just pay attention to the obvious. So one day I'm at an MBMA meeting, because as Silvercoat we're members of that. And there's a conversation about the erection of metal buildings. I'm like, why is it that the people that make the metal building structures don't talk with the people that put up the metal building structures? So I proposed a collaborative event, and we got to talking, and that was 7 years ago. And it's just that simple of why would we not have the people that make it put it work together with the people that put it up? And that became the springboard for our long-term goal, which is on both sides of those fences, there's an accreditation process. A third party, it's called IAS, comes in to talk about safety and review your quality processes, etc. The long game is to have specifiers or architects say, I only want to design a building manufactured by an accredited manufacturer and erected or contracted by an AC 472 or accredited contractor to guarantee quality. We got some traction on that now, but we're growing.
Yeah, David, being a contractor, maybe you could just touch on the importance of that AC 472 accreditation.
Yeah.
AC 478, yes. And Robert's dead on, just to go back to that point. Like I said, I've been in this business a long time, and there was a recognition that as a manufacturer, we're not, but a manufacturer can have the best product in the world. If it's installed incorrectly, it's the worst product in the world. And so it's a natural marriage that says we need each other. And sometimes contractors don't realize that they need the manufacturer so much because they think they can hop from one to the other. But guess what? It's better to have relationships. And what a better way to go somewhere that you have one-on-one conversations, if you want them. At every convention that we do, we have a roundtable discussion with the contractors and the manufacturers in the same room, asking questions one of the other. And that's the best way to solve any situation. Sometimes it's conflict, sometimes it's just a better way to do things, but it's always a better way to do it and talking it out than, like I say, talking behind somebody's back. So it's just a natural progression that we stay together, work together, because we both need each other. We're the sales force for a lot of the manufacturers, and so therefore it's a natural marriage.
Sure is. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. And then you also save because you're, sharing costs for the event, you're, planning together. How has having that certification helped your business, David?
Yeah, touching on AC 478, it's just a wonderful thing. And I tell contractors who are looking at it, many of us are smaller to mid-sized contractors. There are some large contractors. But for many of us, we're the legal department, we're the accounting department, we're the marketing department. Many of us wear the same hats. And so the problem is we have methods, we have policies, we have all these things, but guess where they reside? They reside in our heads. And we're not able to disseminate them effectively to those around us. What AC 478 does is make you put it on paper, from quality standpoint to, your erection to safety, et cetera. And many of us have safety manuals that might have been off the shelf type thing. I have it, but I don't look at it. AC 478 is an annual inspection that comes in. They look at your paperwork and they go out on a job site. So the best thing that it really has done for us, and we've been AC 478 certified, I think going on 4 years now, is it's made us look at our policies, made us look at them on paper, and then train our whole staff on it, including the field, the office, and every year our safety committee then reviews it to make sure that we're doing what we said we would do. So it brings an accountability factor in it. And the end analysis, at first you look at it and you say, this is going to take me a lot of time, but it's time well spent. It's time that actually, when you look at it, has made us more efficient in what we do. And thereby, since we're more efficient, there's a cost savings to it. And so I would tell you AC 478 has paid back to us 10 times over in helping us be more efficient, look at what we're doing, better quality, which means less callbacks, which means less money, et cetera. So it's a great system that not only will benefit the industry, but it will benefit every company that decides to do it and take serious interest in doing it.
Yeah, and that's the contractor version, but there is a manufacturer's version of accreditation as well.
Yes, that's AC 472. Robert could speak to that probably better.
So the AC 472 at the MBMA, to be a member of the MBMA, you must be AC 472 accredited, hands down. So to the AC 478 for the MBCEA, we don't make it mandatory. So we've grown numbers. In the long game, as I mentioned previously, of having specifications of an AC 472 manufacturer be erected by an AC 478 MBCEA member, there's a little bit of pushback because they're like, we'd love to, but there's not enough of you accredited members yet. So at a strategic meeting earlier this fall, the association, we've committed to a number. By June, it'll be 50 accredited members. By the end of 27, it'll be 100. But where the MBMA members are getting a taste of what an accredited program can offer them, we ask them to commit to some of their, I'll call it their larger or their more sexier customers, if you will. And we all know who they are. It might start with an A, might start with an M or a G, saying if you want continuity across states for quality, for safety, then please specify an AC 478 contractor. And they have. So now we're starting to see a little pull through, but then it's also a incentive to the MBCA members if they want to play in that larger arena, that accreditation is the key to that for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And, talking about accreditation, I've been scrolling through the agenda, which is on the mbcea.org website. Just go under events. You can pull up all the information. And I did notice that there is going to be a panel of MBCEA members who have their AC 478 accreditation. So, you can attend the conference, attend that panel, and hear from those contractors the difference that it's made for them, how it's helped their business. Because as you mentioned, David, it makes you put it all on paper. So it's not living in your head. It's going to be a benefit to everybody. And yeah, it looks like an amazing agenda. Speakers that you have. I see Dr. Anirban Basu is one of the speakers. He is, I believe, an economist. And yeah, he's going to be talking about what to expect. By this time, the first quarter of 2026 will be behind us. And we'll be looking at, what we saw and what to expect moving ahead. He's always a great speaker.
Well, it's fun. And if you read the description, he uses the word brood, right? Yes. So I'm like, okay, and if you've ever heard him speak before, he's highly entertaining. He ties in the theme through his presentation. So I'm like, okay, so brood has 2 meetings. Does that mean things that we're not happy about? And is that his projection for first quarter? Or a brood could be a group of children. So what is he saying about us other than we're one giant family? So it'll be interesting to see what he discloses at our conference.
For sure. Yeah. And he puts concepts that are sometimes hard to understand and follow into very easy to understand and easy to follow terms. For sure. Yeah. There's a lot of other fun events planned as well. But there's awards, project awards. Maybe you could touch a little bit about that.
Oh, absolutely. So we like to celebrate works well done, right? So that's giving recognition to the contractors, erectors that have been part of a fabulous project in different categories, from educational to agricultural to retail, etc. But that's internal accolades. What we really like is we turn those awards outward to show the world what a metal building system can actually be. The top prize, then we elevate up to as the building of the year, and we actually create a YouTube video. So if anybody would like to join and follow or subscribe to us on YouTube, you can see the previous building of the year. And it's a quick introspective by the architect, by the contractor, erector, just to see all the things a metal building system can be. Or as I like to now phrase, we want people to start thinking outside the metal box.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And, for contractors to showcase their work too, that's really important. And I think that contractors don't do it enough. You worked on an incredible project, get those nice photos and get that submitted for an award.
That's right.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the networking opportunities because we did mention that and helping the industry. And one of the things that I noticed last year when I was there were, all the meals are kind of together, right? In with the folks that are exhibiting, they're able to sit and meet new people and talk with them. And I imagine that's going to be the same this year, right?
That is correct. And that's, like you noticed, that is on purpose. It is done for that very specific reason, not just to help the vendors, but also to get people engaged, get people mixing with individuals. And that's important, especially for those attending the first time. I've often said a lot of times, especially contractors, for some reason, we just don't talk to each other. And we think we're the only ones that are struggling with how do you keep time on a job effectively? Employee retention. Oh, I'm the only one. When you start talking to others, you're like, guess what? We're all struggling with this issue. And sometimes it's not only us as contractors, but even our vendors deal with employee retention issues, hiring qualified employees, training. How do you do this? How do you do that? What's the best way to order a building? What's the best way to order a product? How do you store all these things I always encourage first timers to, whatever you're going through, just feel free to talk about it, because there's probably 10 other people. The old adage, there's no dumb question. If you ask the question, there's probably 3 others that wanted to ask the question, but were embarrassed to. So by creating that environment where everybody's together and you're mixing with people, talking to people, it really fosters that open communication, along with the roundtables that we had that we mentioned before. Even our seminars tend to, if they're not a roundtable format, at the end, we always try to leave time for 10, 15 minutes of questions. So it's an interactive conference. It is not MBCA or MBA standing up there and just giving you a bunch of information that you try to take home and wonder what you do with it. It's very, very interactive. And the more you interact, the more you get out of it.
So true. So well said. And, I think as a contractor, it's easy to, you get bogged down in your day to day and you kind of feel like you're on an island, here I am, and this is my service area. And so you saying, they think I'm the only one how am I going to figure out this time problem? How am I going to figure out this retention and recruitment problem? Going to your associations, that's where you get the answers. And it's not just, it's actionable, right? It's things that here are solutions. Oh, you meet somebody from another part of the country, that's, not necessarily a competitor, but somebody you could pick up the phone and call and say, hey, did you ever have this issue happen? Those are the kind of relationships and things that happen when you go to an event like this. And it's a small investment. It's not a lot of money to attend, for sure. It's a few $100s, and what the ROI that you will take away from that is 10 times what you paid to attend easily.
I'm not going to mention any other names, but if you look at the MBCEA conference, your application fee, and we try to put it travel-wise somewhere you can get to, it is far less than most other conferences you ever attend. So you are absolutely correct when you talk about affordability. And we do that on purpose also. It is a fundraiser for MBCEA, but we try to keep it very affordable. So not only that the owners can come, but you can also bring your key people.
Yeah. Even for the vendors, the sponsors, that want to participate, it's not unreasonable. I've been in roles where I've planned and done events and shows, and I know what it can cost to be part of this. And yeah, you guys are very reasonable, so I'm sure they all appreciate that. But yeah, it's a high quality event, and I know I mentioned some fun things to do. I just want to touch on. I think there's a Jeep tour. There's a Top Golf event. There's flight simulators. So, they want everybody to learn and, help their business and their company and the industry overall, but you can have fun too.
That's right. And typically, you mentioned Top Golf. We incorporated that because, again, Sasha did a fabulous job trying to recruit a golf course. But in Colorado Springs in April, the threat of snow on ground or snowing, they all declined. So we're like, okay, we'll turn it into Top Golf and then the other 2 events. So one of the things that the association does from all of the collaborative and networking events around meals, clearly it makes it a relaxed environment so people like to talk. Well, questions bubble up from those conversations of things that then turn into one of our MBCA Presents free webinar that we host a month. So it's a truly organic, involved group, and they're friends. People have been members, like it's 57th annual. So there's people that have been attending this conference for years. They don't see each other but once a year. And now their children or their friends are involved. And so it really turns into like a family environment.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And David, you said you've been in the business for 40 years. How long have you been involved in the association?
Testing my memory here.
Ballpark.
Ballpark, it's probably about 15 years, between 15 and 20. I can't remember exactly.
And obviously you were impressed enough to become involved and be part of the board, and you're the incoming president now. That's really fantastic.
Yeah, and it's a great group. The one thing about this organization, and we belong to several, but this organization, the conferences tend to be the decision makers. That's good for the vendors, but it's also good for those who are attending. it tends to be decision makers, not only ownership, but key personnel. Even when we do our field track, it's project supers, it's foremen, it's people that are really invested into the industry. And that's a big difference than some other conferences we go to. It's not always decision makers that you're talking to. So it's people that are feeling what you're feeling, they've gone through what you've gone through or are going through it, or they will go through it, one or the other. So it's like Robert said, the camaraderie, and I have built those relationships where it's like family. You look forward to going and seeing certain people that you only get to see face to face once a year.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so registration's open. The event is Wednesday, April 22nd through Friday, April 24th in, as you mentioned, Colorado Springs, Hotel Polaris, which, Robert, you said is a brand new facility.
It is a brand new facility. It's tied right next to the, I would say, the Air Force Ground, hence the flight simulator. So we try to chime a little bit of the local flavor, as David said, again, just to add to the fun to the conference. So if you haven't, this is for Sasha's purpose, you haven't registered yet by the end of the day, then you're going to be behind me in registration.
Right. So yeah, go to mbcea.org. All the information and registration is available on the site. We also have all this information over on Metal Coffee Shop, and at both MBCEA and MBMA have full directories on Metal Coffee Shop. So you can learn more about either association and find out how to get in touch with them there. Robert, David, thank you so much for being here today. This was a great conversation.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Karen. This was a lot of fun. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. And thanks everybody out there for listening. We love that you're here. We encourage you to please subscribe on your favorite podcast platform because we want to see you on a future episode of MetalCast. See you next time.